everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Kings Court with me, Vincent Miracle, here for Fansided.com, GoldenGateSports.com, and of course, SacKingsNation.com. So be sure to go to all three of those websites for all of your daily Kings news. Today's episode, we have a lot to cover. As you can see, though, for most avid fans, I did say we were going to have a new co-host on today, but some personal issues have came up. We're going through a transitional phase right here at the Kings Court on this website for SacKingsNation.com, Fansided.com, and GoldenGateSports.com. What a great plug-in, right? Anyways, so he couldn't be on the show today, but I cannot wait for you guys to meet this guy. He has great NBA knowledge. No, it's not just about the Kings, but the NBA in general. And that's what this Kings Court's about. Yes, we love the Sacramento Kings, and yes, we give you a daily dose of all the Kings news that we can find and build together and give you insight into what it could all mean or, projections of what it could happen with that news. But we love the NBA also, and that's what this guy brings. And I cannot wait for you guys to meet him. Again, I'm not dropping any names. I'm going to let him introduce himself when he's on the show. Hopefully he can be on Monday's show. If not, he'll most likely be on Friday's episode, which is the post-draft episode, which I hope a lot of you guys will be on there and hope you guys enjoy and things like that, because I'm going to get into a lot of that here. But today, there's so much to cover. I mean, just not even enough for me to explain. So let's just jump into topic number one, which is the Kings. They are now hosting their third pre-draft workout, their third prospect workout, to say the least. And there's 6 new players that have come on. I have the 6 names right here. You have Zach LaVine, Rodney Hood, Sim Bahuler. Ugh, that's a big name right there. I can't even pronounce it. That's probably the wrong name to pronounce. Nick Johnson, Elijah Pittman, and Richard Solomon. Now, of course, the 2 names that really jump off the table or, quote-unquote, headline this prospect workout is UCLA guard Zach LaVine and, 6'8", small forward out of Duke, Rodney Hood. And I was a little hard on Rodney Hood in the last episode this past Monday because he was actually supposed to be in the previous workout. And that had Javier Thames. Rodney Hood was supposed to be in that prospect workout, but he dropped out for no apparent reason. It looks like he rescheduled, and now he is actually at today's Friday, June 21st or 20th, Friday, June 20th prospect workout. Great. I think Rodney Hood is one of those players that really fills that need of what the Kings needed last season. And they needed someone who can shoot the basketball from beyond the perimeter. And that's what Rodney Hood does. Rodney Hood can score from both inside and out, mid-range and deep. He has just a very, very nice shooting touch. Now, I do not see him as a number 8 pick. Let me define that out right now. He is not a number 8 pick. But the reason why I like him is the Kings have been throwing their names in a bunch of trade talk lately, and that's great. The Kings need it. The Kings need to keep themselves in the loop, keep that media-driven drive going right now, and, keep their name in that media and a bunch of trade talk to show that they're ready to move forward. They're ready to get this whole Maloof scenario and this team, this franchise back in the winning scene. And to do that, you gotta get your name out there. You gotta not be afraid to make the bold moves. And then maybe that's what they're trying to do with Kevin Love, but that's a topic for maybe even later on down the show if I got a question for it. Again, I'll be taking fan questions at the end of the show. You can start emailing your questions in or tweeting your questions in to @SKNArticles or email it to sknarticles@gmail.com. But back to Rodney Hood. Hood can be a shooter. The only thing with Hood is I don't see him as a number 8 pick, like I just previously said. But, like I said, the Kings have been in a bunch of trade talks. I would not be surprised if the Kings moved down and picked up Rodney Hood at let's say the number 19, the number 15, around that area. I know he's projected in the lottery. Trust me, I know. I've been reading like crazy. I see it, guys. Trust me, I'm not crazy. I know. But starting to feel that way about Rodney Hood is he has talent to be a good bench player. I don't see him as he's going to be a star in this league type of player. No, he's going to be a good role player, and the Kings need role players right now. I mean, they're hoping that they get their starting small forward back in Rudy Gay, whether it's him opting in or him opting out and restructuring a contract. But of course, the Kings in their mindset right now want him to opt in because of the report that came out, I believe, last week, where they had a big meeting. Fans met Rudy Gay at the airport. They had Hall of Famers Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullins meet up and talk with Rudy Gay just to make him opt into his contract. So Rodney Hood could be a great role player, especially for this team where they could use a nice backup that can shoot. Because Derek Williams, let's be honest, guys, it's nice to see him dunk, but he's not a shooter, and the Kings lacked perimeter shooting all last season. As soon as they got rid of Marcus Smart, Jimmer Fredette, Patrick Patterson, where'd their shooting go? It was gone, right? Ben McLemore was supposed to be that shooter, and he couldn't fill that void. Maybe he has that potential to still do it. He still has the potential to do it. And during the last 2 months of the season, he showed his potential. But, he wasn't that for the Kings last season. Isaiah Thomas was the only player you can really say, yes, he can shoot the ball from the perimeter. Travis Outlaw had nice little stints, but, he's still Travis Outlaw. He's a bench player now. So, Rodney Hood can fill that void. I think that if the Kings see promise in him, they should go after him, but not at the number 8 pick. It just has to work out the correct way. Let me get a drink of water here. Zach LaVine, on the other hand, his stock has been kind of around that top 10 level. And I'm talking about Zach LaVine, the UCLA guard, who has been labeled with crazy athleticism. His stock has kind of been on the rise since the NBA Draft Combine, which Ryan and I did a review. And for those who don't know when I bring up Ryan, it was my previous co-host, Ryan Hernandez, who is not on the show with us anymore. Check the previous episode to hear why. But ever since that NBA Draft Combine, Ryan brought up Zach LaVine's name, and he was right. This guy's stock is rising. And he's been right there in that top 10. Now he's at number 9. Most project him to go number 9 to Charlotte, which I can see being a good fit. Kemba Walker needs someone young and who can shoot next to him in that backcourt. And I think, Zach LaVine can do that. The thing with Zach LaVine is this. He is still developing. To me, he is kind of like Ben McLemore, but with a better handle. McLemore's got crazy athleticism. Zach LaVine has crazy athleticism. Ben McLemore was a pure shooter, like a great shooter in the college. It did not translate well during his first season in the NBA, but that's what he was in college. Zach LaVine has a nice shooting stroke. Let's be honest, guys. He only averaged 9 points a game. It's not like we got to see him average, 17 to 20 points a game like some of these other shooters and scorers like Doug McDermott or Nick Stauskas. You know what I mean? So, averaging nearly 10 points a game and his potential is still that high, it kind of, you gotta put that into consideration here. But the shooting stroke looks nice. The athleticism is crazy. A 45.5 vertical or max vertical leap today with the Kings during their pre-draft workout. That's a pretty good jump. That is crazy athleticism, without a doubt. Again, he's still young. He still needs to work on his strength. I like him. But then, let's say the Kings draft Zach LaVine at number 8. Again, as I take a drink of my water. Let's say they draft him at number 8. What happens to Ben McLemore? Do you keep starting him? Or do you take what you just got in that first round pick with that potential and you move that into the starting lineup? Because what Ben McLemore can't do, he still cannot dribble. He improved it. I've said it many times. He's improved that last 2 months. He showed his potential. But he is not a dribbler. He cannot handle the basketball. He's not going to be a double guard. He is a shooting guard and a prototypical shooting guard. And Zach LaVine kind of has the potential to be, both 1 and 2. Especially at 6'6", which is a very nice size. So if he has a better handle than McLemore, but that shooting touch is, I give that to McLemore. Athleticism, they're about the same. And then weight-wise, they both need to muscle up. So, what do? Who do you pick? Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the comment section below on who would you start if the Kings drafted Zach LaVine with the number 8 pick. Ben McLemore or Zach LaVine? Who's in your starting lineup? Alright, guys, I'm going to move on to topic number 2 today, and that was with that yesterday. Tuesday, sorry. Tuesday, it was reported that the Kings met with Nick Stauskas and Doug McDermott. And again, it's these two players are players that fill the void of what the Kings lacked last season. Now, with Stauskas, it's kind of in that same boat with Zach LaVine. He's young. This one can shoot. Stauskas can shoot the basketball. You got to see it on a higher level. I mean, he averaged 17.8 points a game. That's crazy good. And he averaged nearly 45% from beyond the three-point range. From beyond the perimeter, he is hitting 44%. That is skill. You cannot teach that. Same with Doug McDermott, 44.8, 44.9% from beyond the yard. McDermott is also a undervalued rebounder. He can rebound a basketball. He's done 4 years in college ranks. Some compare him. I've been reading a lot of you guys. Come on now, I read you guys. And I've seen a lot of you guys compare him to Jimmer Fredette. The thing between Jimmer Fredette and Doug McDermott is, one, of course, they don't play the same position. Two, Doug McDermott is not set on scoring. I mean, he is a great scorer. I mean, inside and out, three-point range, just a crazy good jump shot. But the guy can rebound. 7 rebounds a game for his entire college career. That is skill. You cannot teach that rebounding skill. I mean, you can teach it, but I mean, he's already has it. You know what I mean? So, when you compare him to Jimmer still needed to learn how to dribble. Jimmer in college when he was with BYU was their scorer. He was looked to score. Like, that's what they looked for him to do. They didn't look for him to pass. They didn't look for him to do stuff. Doug McDermott was looked to rebound and looked to be the scorer. Defensively, he's nothing. I mean, he still needs to muscle up. He has a high IQ, but he is not a defender. So, I mean, offensively, it's something that the Kings need. And you never know. Maybe he can turn out something like a Patrick Patterson, which completely stretched the floor. I thought it was a nice combination with Patterson and Cousins down low. Maybe that's something that, McDermott could be. Alright, guys. Third topic of the day, and this is kind of an NBA topic more than it is a Kings topic, but it's something that I think that is interesting enough to bring up on this show, and that's Joel Embiid's foot surgery that's going on right now. For those who don't know, Joel Embiid was projected to be a number 1 to top 3 pick in this draft. And now he's going through this foot surgery, and his draft stock is just going down. And, does he drop to number 8? And if he does, do the Kings take him on pure potential? On pure potential, do the Kings say, he's a shot blocker? He was a projected top 3 pick. You have to go after this guy. Or do they think, back injury in the beginning of this college season, back injury at the end of his college season, during NBA draft workouts now, foot injury, foot surgery, no more workouts, missing the NBA draft completely, and now you have to wait to hear his name. And then he has to hear his name on TV on where he's going in his NBA career. I mean, that's crazy to think about. If he drops to number 8, do the Kings go after that? Do the Kings say, hey, Embiid, Cousins, down low, Cousins moves to his possibly ideal spot on an NBA floor, which is the power forward spot, and have a shot blocking, can hit mid-range shots, still developing very young Joel Embiid? There's a lot of things that can happen there. And again, Embiid's stock is dropping because of it. And for those who don't think that it is, I mean, you're wrong. He has a history of injuries now. Not just 1, not just 2, but 3 injuries. 2 were his back, now 1 is his foot, and it's causing him to go to surgery. It caused him to miss the March Madness tournament. It caused him to miss, I believe, 16 to 20 games at the beginning of his college season. That affects the draft stock. And if you don't think so, I mean, open your eyes and see it. And if it doesn't affect your mindset, even if he does drop and you believe that and he goes to number 8, that should be taken into consideration. And the GM of Pete D'Alessandro and the entire Kings franchise front office should be taking that into account, as he now has injury history. He is now considered injury prone until proven otherwise. In my mindset though, you take that risk. I mean, that might just be me. The Kings need a center. Cousins moves to his ideal spot, the power forward position. You get a shot blocker, still developing. The injuries are what worry you. The injuries throw up the red flag, but, I mean, it's there. The skill is there. He was a projected top 3 pick. Now, I'm not saying anything about, being a projected top 3 pick can mean absolutely nothing. Kwame Brown, I believe, was the first pick in the NBA draft, and look how that turned out. Where is he? The Sixers bench? Is he even there anymore? I don't even know. But the skill is there for Joel Embiid. He has talent. If he can drop to number 8 because of his injury, what if that comeback is crazy good? What if you just built one of the best tandems down low in Sacramento Kings franchise history? That's what can potentially happen with the Kings drafting Joel Embiid if he can fall to number 8. But again, the red flags are there. For me personally, this is my thought. I would draft him at number 8 if Joel Embiid falls there. I know, like I just said, I just brought it up. 3 injuries in one season while you're even declaring yourself for this NBA draft makes you called injury prone. So you have to take that into consideration. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you had a choice to draft Joel Embiid at number 8, would you do it? Would you draft Joel Embiid? Leave your comments in the comment section below and let me know what you think. Why they should, why they shouldn't. Alright guys, we're coming close to the end of the show, but of course we're going to start answering fan questions. If you have a question that you want to get on the show, you can email your questions to SacKingsNation. Sorry, I'm completely freezing up right now. You can email your questions to sknarticles@gmail.com, or you can tweet SacKingsNation at sknarticles. You can also tweet myself on Twitter. I love talking Kings basketball all the time, every day, and NBA basketball in general. I love reading it, love talking about it, love writing about it. And you can find me on Twitter at VMCenter. So again, any questions prior to the show, before it starts, I always post on Twitter and all things like that. You can find me on all social media sites at VMCenter. But yeah, we take all your questions all day long before the show starts and get your questions on. So feel free to get in a question. So the first question of the day comes from Dustin Bailey. Dustin, thank you for this question. It says, what is the alternative mindset with the Kings front office with the split on Thomas? If he leaves, what do you want? Well, if he leaves, I want a point guard. I mean, that's what you look for. You need to fill that void now. Because, I've said it many, many times. Ray McCallum was good. And he had a great stint with the Kings. Let me take a drink of water again, guys. He had a great last few months with the Kings, especially with the Isaiah Thomas injury. But he's not ready to be a starter, in my opinion. I think he's still developing. I think that, well, it was nice to see. It was still on a 28-win team. But yeah, you need to get a point guard. You need to fill in the void of what you just lost with Isaiah Thomas, which is someone who can come in and be that spark plug. Now, the Kings still need that facilitator. And I don't know where you're going to get that. I don't know what you get in a sign-and-trade deal with Isaiah Thomas, because if they lose Isaiah Thomas, it's going to be in a sign-and-trade deal, no doubt. So, what I want back, excuse me, is a point guard that can facilitate and defend. I don't care about scoring as much, but facilitate and defend is what I think the Kings need. Where they get it, I don't know. I do not know. But that's what I want. And Dustin Bailey, thank you for your awesome question. This one is a big one. This is from Mr. Baca. It says, this year is going to be tough for the Kings front office. I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings sign Gay. I won't be surprised if the Kings sign Gay if he stays. Draft Elfrid Payton and use IT to get a second-round pick or additional players. My question is this. Are the Kings willing to continue to develop players and get them ready to contend in 2 to 3 years? Or try to slap players together to win now? They're looking to win now. Mr. Baca, thank you for your question. They're looking to win now. And they've said that plenty of times. this new GM, this new front office, this new regime the Kings are building right now, they're looking to win right now. And that's why you hear their names in Kevin Love rumors and why they don't care if he re-signs or not. They're not making him have a commitment. I mean, they care whether he re-signs or not, but they're not worried about it for him to come over. They said, we'll make this deal without any contingency of him deciding to stay or not before we pick him up. That's why they're going after players like Rudy Gay. And I think, personally, they need to do what you said. Keep developing for 2 to 3 years. They're not going anywhere, guys. I want the Kings to win just as much as you guys do. I mean, who doesn't want to see this franchise win? Who doesn't want to see this team go back to the heyday? We all do. I sure do. And to get there, I think you need to develop. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. I think that they need to develop, but they are trying to win now. But we will see what happens. I think a lot will define on what they do with this franchise. All rides in the hand of what Rudy Gay does, and if he decides to stay with this franchise, not just for next season, but to possibly end his career for at least multiple more years with the Kings franchise, at least 4. So if Rudy Gay doesn't decide to do that, I think that's what makes it tough on the Kings. I think that they would bite the bullet too hard if they went after players like Kevin Love and such stuff like that. But Mr. Baca, thank you for your question. Oh, and speaking of Elfrid Payton, because you brought his name up, and I know you didn't. You just brought his name up because the Kings have been they've been projecting around that a lot. But Payton is a good fit. I've compared him, my NBA comparison, I don't know what most are, but mine is Jeff Teague. He can defend. He's very, very quick. He's got a handle. He can pass. He can rebound. I mean, he does everything this team needs without scoring. I mean, he's not the greatest scorer. He needs to work on his shooting technique, but it's there. And I really, really enjoy watching him play. But again, Mr. Baca, thank you for your question. And the last question of the day comes from the Pilot. He says, DeMarcus Cousins shouldn't have gotten teed up against Jimmy Kimmel, and he's not an emotional lesbian. That was one of the tweets that he had to read on Mean Tweets for Jimmy Kimmel. Cousins is cool. He's starting to get more exposure, TV beneficial, so everyone could see the good side of him. His recent maturation might just be enough to get him on the Olympics, along with the improvements his improvements this past season. Maybe talk about Big Cuz and him recently. Well, I mean, I brought it up not too long ago about him on Jimmy Kimmel. And when he was first on and he played. I mean, getting teed up, I think that was actually a good idea. I like that he got teed up because that means he's willing to play off of his mistakes. He did lead the league in the NBA last season with 16 technicals. He did miss the last game of the season because of it. He was suspended. And he knew that. I mean, Marv Albert brought it up, and they played off it on Jimmy Kimmel. I love that they did that because he was laughing about it. And yeah, you're right. It's great to see him on. He was just recently on SportsCenter just last night, which was Thursday. And, he was the boogeyman, DeMarcus Boogie Cousins. And he was the boogeyman, and he was scaring people at the LA Sports Center, studio area. He scared Michelle Beadle and stuff like that. I think you're right. It's great exposure. I think not just for him to show off his good side, but also for the Kings to say, hey, that is a Sacramento King. Let's keep an eye on DeMarcus. Let's see how this team does. I mean, when you see Kobe, you think Lakers. I think that what the Kings are trying to do and what DeMarcus is trying to do is market himself and the team. Like, when you think of DeMarcus Cousins, you think of Sacramento Kings basketball. And you don't want to think about it because what you're trying to think of him now is DeMarcus Cousins. He needs to mature. Leads the league in technicals. Potential. No. I think what they're trying to do is DeMarcus Cousins, leader of the Sacramento Kings. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to, like you said, show off his good side. I think he's trying to show that he's maturing. And it really will come on to what happens next season. But if this team can start winning next season, I think they need to get 35 wins. And DeMarcus Cousins proves, you know what? Not leading the league in technicals this year. You guys know me now. I mean, I've been everywhere. I've been on Jimmy Kimmel twice. Been on SportsCenter. He was on Black Ink last season where he got a tattoo on VH1. He's really marketing himself more and more, and I really do enjoy it. And I think you're right. It shows off his good side and not just promotes him, but the Kings franchise in a whole. And I think that's really what the Kings need. Alright guys, that is our episode today. I want to thank all of you guys who brought in a question. Again, if you have a question that you want to get on the show, you can email your questions to sknarticles@gmail.com. Tweet your questions into the show at SKNarticles. You can find me on all social media websites and tweet your questions to me as well. I am at VM Center. And until next time, Kings fans, bye-bye.